All right, what's going on, AO3 family? It's your friend, Coach G. We are in the building today. I was thinking through content and what we're going to talk about as we were preparing, and what came to mind is, who is Kevin? Like, who am I really? So I want to give people some background, some perspective to know the dynamics and the journey that I've been on. Where did it all start? Honestly, it was a journey that I did not even realize I was on, but the one that made the most sense. I have been in the works of like helping people, and I love to be behind the scenes and like supporting people in their growth. Myself included, right? Like I love personal development. I believe a lot in what it looks like to grow in different areas. And then I learned about this emotional intelligence thing, and man, it just started to put things in line for me in my life. I think the biggest thing happened when I was from Toledo, Ohio, and when I left high school, I had this plan to be in the music industry because I love music. I have a music background, and I love everything about music. And I mean, every genre of music I love, except for bluegrass. But everything about music, it like helped me think. It helped me live, to be honest with you. It was a way for me to escape. And I remember going to school, going to the University of Toledo, and signing up for classes that was all about social work because I just wanted to help people. And when I got involved in that, I'm like, yeah, this is really not it. It really wasn't exactly what I wanted to do, but I was also taking some music classes at the time. So I switched into the business lane because business made the most sense because like I tell people all the time, I have three passions. I love food, I love people, and I love supporting young people. And so I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna go ahead and start my own catering service. And so I took a journey on working in some different spaces and places where I was able to do some catering, and then found out about this school in Columbus, Ohio, called Bradford. And I came on down to visit the school to see what it was all about. Now, mind you, I had already been in school for a few months, I had already been in school for a few years at the University of Toledo, and had already switched my major twice, trying to figure out what I was going to do. And I should have went undecided because I wasn't sure, but I knew I needed to do something. And so I came on down to Columbus, visited the school, and it took like probably 10 minutes of the tour. And I was like, yeah, I'm signing up. And I looked at my mom, I'm like, this is it. This is what we're going to do. Because she came on down with me. And so I signed up for Bradford and came down here maybe 6 months after that. Had literally changed my entire life. Everything I knew, everyone I knew, all of my friends, my family, everything left the city and came on down here and literally drove down here. My grandfather enticed me to think bigger and think better. So he bought me a 2003 Dodge Durango. So, you know, I was living big back then. And I drove down with everything that I had and owned with me in the truck. Like that's all I had to get down here and get started. And started culinary school, and that was a journey. And I met some amazing people along the way. And it was funny because in school, we would have this break in between classes. And I would always be out in the parking lot sometimes or like helping somebody or talking with somebody about something. And somebody had mentioned like, what are you, like a life coach? Like as a joke. And I was just like, no, I didn't even know what that was. Like it made no, like it wasn't something that language that I had prior to that. So I remember that moment being a time where I realized that other people realized that, you know, having support is important. I knew it for me, but now knowing that other people could benefit from it, I'm like, what does this mean? But mind you, I'm down here to go to culinary school. So I went ahead and finished out. I graduated from culinary school, worked in some different spaces, went into management, did the whole culinary track. And I was like, something still wasn't hitting. Something still wasn't where I wanted to be. I'm like, something has to change. And so at that time, I had went and done some work at a community center where I was cooking for some young people and had jumped into some work in youth development because I had been doing that most of my life anyway in different spaces, and landed a job. I landed a job at quit working in the culinary field and landed a job doing youth development work. And I thought that was really cool to jump into that. And again, I found a space where I was helping and supporting others. And it just felt right. Things just made sense. Like I didn't have to think about it. Like it wasn't this thing where I had to remember anything. It just was what I knew I was called to do, but didn't have the language for. Then I met someone in my life who at that time was a supervisor who had come in and talked to me about other possibilities and opportunities. And it was really cool when you can get around someone, or I should say it is cool when you can get around someone who sees something special in you without even really knowing you like that. And so this individual kind of was like, hey, you seem to like, helping people. Let me talk to you about some other opportunities. And so that work led into me finding out more about what this coaching field could be. And I remember jumping into it and getting into a space where I met my people. Like, what does that mean? Like, I met my people. I went to a conference. At the time, it was the John Maxwell team. And I met so many other like-minded people who had goals to build their businesses around supporting and developing others. And in that space, I remember sitting down in this room of thousands of people in Florida. And I remember feeling like a real small being in the group because I'm like, I don't know what's going on. This is new to me. I'm down here because somebody basically volunteered me, thank goodness they did, to get in this space. And I was amazed. I remember looking around this room. It was at a convention center at the resort we were staying at. And I was just like, it was like endless rows of people all around. And people were excited. They were encouraging each other. And I'm sitting there watching like, I found my space. I found where I'm supposed to be. And still, again, didn't have language for it. Because when people are asking, like, what are you going down to Florida to do? I'm like, well, I'm going to this conference. It's around business building, not really sure. And I remember getting in there and I had read some of John's books prior to that. One of my favorite books by him is Everyone Communicates, Few Connect. And seeing the author on stage, to me, it was like, fan. Like, I was like, oh my goodness, that's John Maxwell. So glad to be here. But he made me feel like family in a room of thousands of people, right? And what was great about it was he made a comment that I will hold to this day. He said, adding value to ourselves so we can add value to others. And I was like, this is it. This makes sense. This is where I'm supposed to be. Like, I love the fact that I get to develop myself so I can support others. And I knew from that point on that going on to this journey of being a coach was what I needed to do. So I deep dived in. And prior to that, I had already took some classes to get my certifications and stuff around personal development and specializing in emotional intelligence because I believe there's a connection between the two. But I was so thankful to be in a space where I can grow with others, lead with others, and be able to support others along the way. And that's what got me started. A question that I sometimes get, and I was reminded of today, is how do I know I'm going in the right direction? How do I know that the steps I'm taking are taking me where I need to go? I think one of the biggest things that I kind of laugh about it now because I'm like, it all was the right direction. This just probably wasn't the plan that I would have set out for myself. But the reason why I know now that I am going in the direction I'm supposed to go in as I'm continuing to build my business and grow in life and just continue to develop myself, because that's going to be a lifelong journey for me. Is that along the way, I have seen goals or things I really wanted for myself come to pass. Like, I had struggled with goals before this, right? Like, I know how to set the goals up, like people talk about, the New Year's resolutions. And I'm always passing this joke. People are like, New Year, new me. It's going to be the same you by February because you didn't have new habits prior to the new year coming, right? So I just believe that one of the ways I know that the change has happened is because I feel a change inside of me. I feel alive. I can see the conversations that I'm having have shifted. The opportunities, man, like the opportunities are absolutely amazing, where I'm being asked to do things that I never would have dreamed of. I've been asked to be on different panels and sitting with different groups that I never thought that somebody like me would belong. And although my goal was just to help and support people's growth, now I'm in positions where people are calling on me to come support them. But not just them. They're like, hey, I also need to see if I can get you over here to help with these people too. The journey is making more sense, more and more sense every day. Another thing that really has really just heightened my awareness is that I can tell that I'm growing because I don't respond to things the way I used to respond. So when we're talking about emotional intelligence, one of the bases, I would say the main thing in emotional intelligence, as far as I'm concerned, is self-awareness. My self-awareness has grown to a point where I am able to articulate my emotions where before I couldn't. I'm able to articulate the thoughts and the dreams that I have for myself when I used to kind of shy away from it. And I'm able to walk in a room where before I would be too afraid to step in there because somebody like me probably didn't belong, and own that space. Like I know it. Like I know I'm supposed to be here, right? And if you'd have known me a few years back, you would be like, oh yeah, you definitely done some growing, friend, right? And I think another big thing in growing is there has been some what I call milestones in my life that I wanted to see come to pass for me. And I've seen them come to pass, or I'm approaching those milestones. How did I do that? That's really the question. Like, how did I do that? It's daily. Every step I take, I am making sure that I'm making moves towards the goals, the dreams, the life, the environment, everything that I want to see for me. I'm making sure that every single day, I'm taking steps towards that. Even if it's one thing or two things, whatever I need to do, I'm making sure I'm doing that. And so now I'm able to look back and go, man, I remember when I was dreaming about something and now I get to live it. Now I get to live it. And so that's one of the ways I'm noticing that not only that I'm growing, but also it's evident in the relationships around me, the people who are like living life with me. And I love it. And I love the fact that we're growing together and we're connecting. Because one of the things I said I was always going to do is no matter what, I know I didn't get here on my own. I know somebody helped support me to get to where I'm at today, and I would never take that for granted. So one of the things I always said I was going to do is as I grow, I want to be able to help people along the way, whomever that might be, in business and or in life. And so I know now that because my relationships are changing and evolving, and I'm connecting with more people, and my reach is even further. Like I'm not just here in the city I'm in, right? Like I'm talking to different people and connecting with people from literally all over the world. And it excites me to be able to do that. So I know that I'm moving in the right direction. And I know that growth is a daily step and change will come along the way.